So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maurya Hanspal, and in this session, we're going to start our discussion on mutual funds. That what exactly do we mean by mutual funds, and what is the benefit of mutual funds? So see, when you are investing in stock market, there can be two modes of investing in stock market. One can be through the direct equity method, and the other can be through the mutual funds. So what do I mean when I say investing in direct equity? So when I say investing in direct equity, I mean investing in direct stocks. If I have knowledge, if I have the market expertise on stock market and I can pick up the right stock and create my own kind of a portfolio having different stocks, and I feel I can do it and I have the time for it as well. So the best method for it would be the direct equity. So the benefit of direct equity is like there are no additional charges. You have the expertise and knowledge to invest in stock market, to pick up your own stocks, like buy the stocks like whenever you see is the right time, and sell the stocks like whenever you feel is the right time to do so. You have the time, you have the money, like a lot of money. सी बेसिकली अगर एक स्टॉक खरीद रहे हो तो पैसा नहीं लगेगा, बट अगर बहुत सारे स्टॉक्स खरीद रहे हैं देन यू इंडिविजुअल स्टॉक्स खरीद रहे हैं बहुत सारे, दैट वी कॉल एज अ डायरेक्ट स्टॉक इक्विटी पिकिंग, अगर तो पैसा लगेगा. ठीक है. सो इफ यू हैव ऑल दिस एंड टाइम एज वेल देन यू कैन डू द डायरेक्ट स्टॉक पिकिंग, तो उसके लिए टाइम भी होता है. But a large number of people are there who 24/7 cannot analyze the annual reports of the company, who 24/7 cannot see the performance of the company, chart pattern, ये सब नहीं देख सकते. So a convenient way for those people is to invest in a mutual fund. And also in a mutual fund, you get the expertise and knowledge if you do not have. Because everyone nowadays is making returns from the mutual fund industry. Even the AUM has also crossed. Like the AUM for the international investing had crossed, but for the ETF it is the it's normal, like matlab not for the ETFs. In case of the international investing in mutual funds, like what basically happened, the limit was like 1 billion for the overall industry, 7 billion for the overall industry, and per mutual fund it was like maximum 1 billion. But now the limit has crossed. But in case of ETF it is not so. Okay. So even the people have started like investing into mutual funds. So mutual fund gives you a very great way of investing into the stock markets and picking up stocks in the form of a fund. And it gives you the benefit of diversification. So first of all, if you do not have knowledge about the stock markets, about markets and want to make returns, so mutual fund is one of the reason. Also, like if you have like no knowledge and expertise in that field, then also the mutual fund can be like one of the reason. In case you have a lesser amount of money, then also like mutual fund can be like one of the reasons. Okay, so that is one way you can take into consideration for. So what basically happens in a mutual fund, a pool is created by, so basically एक mutual fund को बनाने के लिए ना, it is like sponsored by a trustee. And trustee is a person who sets up or appoints an AMC or the asset management company. Okay, so here like you'll have the asset management company here. This asset management company, and what is this asset management company doing? It is pooling a large sum of money, and it is pooling the money from different investors. And once this asset management company has pooled up the money from different investors, so what this is doing, it is investing into the markets. It is investing into the markets. And what is the benefit here? Obviously, like when you are investing, it is not mandatory. अगर मान लो कि 10 stocks हैं, and stocks के individual price देने की need नहीं आपको. You people get units. Even if you are investing like 500 rupees here, okay? Even if you are investing 500 rupees here, अगर 500 rupees भी यहाँ पर invest कर रहे हो, this amount gets allocated. Like for example, if this mutual fund has like 30% of Tata, 20% of Reliance, maybe like 70%, let's take it 50% of Nestle. Okay, so if 500 mein na, this 30% would go for Tata, 20% of 500 will go for Reliance, and 50% of 500 will go for Nestle. This is how you people get units in the case of mutual funds. And then how to calculate units, हम कैसे ये सब calculate करते हैं, so that I'm gonna tell you in the subsequent sessions. So that is the like one of the benefits of the mutual fund. You need not do individual stock picking, and that minimum amount can fetch you a large number of stocks into your baskets. Also, the mutual fund also gives you a benefit of diversification. Now, what exactly we mean by a diversification? It is giving you a diversification because ultimately you are creating a portfolio. Now, what do we mean by a portfolio? Portfolio is something which comprises of a basket of stocks. A large number of stocks are present in that portfolio. In case of the direct equity, you might purchase individual stocks. So, वो portfolio नहीं बन पाएगा. But in case of a mutual funds, a portfolio has been created because it follows the strategy of diversification. That is, instead of investing in only one stock, a large number of stocks are being invested into. And also, instead of investing into only one industry, you are picking up stocks from like different industries. Even like investing in one particular industry is also called diversification, but that is a concentrated diversification because you're just investing into one industry. It is beneficial to invest across industries and not like within industry. Let me give you a basic example. Just assume that before this COVID-19 pandemic struck the economy all over the world, if anyone would have invested only in the hospitality sector, these hotels, your like travel and tourism, holiday making companies, so obviously these companies would have made losses for that person, because either the value of his portfolio would have turned into zero or into negative. But if that person along with investing into the stocks of the hospitality industry, invested into the stocks of pharma, IT, metals, FMCG, real estate, in that case the losses would have balanced out. Because we all know in this COVID-19 pandemic, the pharma sector, IT sector, and they performed well. Even the metal sector also boosted up, and real estate sector is also performing well. And fast-moving consumer goods is something which is non-discretionary. You cannot live without them, so you have to spend, whether a boom or a recession. And इस recession के period में इनके prices भी बढ़ जाते हैं, and you all know that. So instead of like investing only in the stocks of the hospitality industry, investing into the varied industries can give you a benefit, right? That is where this concept comes into place, and this you should know. Okay. So coming back to the mutual funds, I have something for you. Yeah. So see, basically, when we talk about the mutual funds, there are three kinds of mutual funds, or three types of the mutual funds. One is based on their structure. The second is based on their investment objective. And the third one is based on their style. Okay, the style one has not been mentioned here, but that I will tell you. One is based on their structure. Second is based on their investment objective, and the third is based on their style. So first, let's talk about the based on their structure in very brief. So when we talk about the mutual funds based on their structure, further you have two kinds of mutual funds. The first type of the mutual fund is the open-ended fund, and the second type is the closed-ended fund. So what happens in the open-ended fund? In the open-ended fund, like if you are like investing your money into the open-ended fund, okay, you can like redeem that money anytime that you want, and there is like no lock-in period. But in case of a closed-ended fund, there is a lock-in period. And if you redeem your money or withdraw that money within that lock-in period, some penalty would be charged, and that can hamper your returns. That is the main difference between an open-ended mutual fund and a closed-ended mutual fund. Second comes on the basis of the investment objective. Here you have the equity funds, you have the debt funds, and the balance funds. The equity fund is something which is investing at least 80 to 85% in equity assets. Your debt fund is something which is investing at least 80 to 85% in debt instruments, bonds, debentures. And balance fund is something which is trying to match an appropriate combination of both equity and debt. So coming back to based on the structure, like when I talked about the open-ended fund and the closed-ended fund, so there is one more type of fund which is called an interval fund. So an interval fund is something like which becomes open-ended, like which is closed-ended and becomes open-ended at some points of interval. At that time, you can redeem and withdraw your money. Third is the based on their style. So based on their style, you have the active funds and the passive funds. So when I talk about the active funds is something when we're trying to beat the index, and passive fund is something when we're trying to copy the index. So let me give you a basic example. Like for example, over an average period of time, market index, that is Nifty or Sensex, has given an average return of 15% around. So if you want a return जो market से match करे, then invest in a passive fund or an index fund. because that will match the returns with the market. If the market on an average is giving you the returns of 15%, these funds will also give you a return of 15%. But if you want to outperform the market or index, then go for the active funds, because here the expertise of the management is being involved. And they will try to give you a return at least more than the index. So that is the case of the active funds. Okay. So now here we have the advantages of the mutual fund. So that we'll be talking about in the subsequent